welcome back to Copper Guardians. We are back with this group as they arrived at Malikboten, or as some have called it, Michael Bublé.
Bubble.
That's, to be fair, it's because I forgot I called it Michael Bolton prior to that.
I see.
Michael Bublé is the one you remember.
I know, exactly. That's what I remember. The group had disembarked from their skyship and were wandering around the city after a little surprise that they had to pay a fee to enter the city, and finding out that they aren't the only ones who are spending money on the government. And Caden discovered that seemingly the city seems to be preparing for war with someone that live in a place called Tepe.
Pepe the frog?
No, not Pepe. It's called Tepe Calise. There we go, Calise. I'll remember it one of these days. Sounds like a what?
Like a spell.
Like a spell.
Tepe
Tepe Calise. So, and you guys entered into the Boar's Head, an inn which was called the best place to eat in town. And when you arrived, you were underwhelmed by the exterior. As you enter in, you can tell that the interior is much better kept up. The tables are cleared and clean, and the cloth on it appears to be well made. And there's like no holes or dirty dishes or any of that. It looks formal. If not, like, it's not like a Michelin 5-star restaurant or something, but it looks pretty good.
Perhaps we're a little underdressed.
Yeah. So, as you enter, the waiter, I guess, comes up and says, how many am I needing to seat?
In English.
How many are you needing to seat?
5?
4 and maybe 5.
Yeah, potentially 5. If he turns up.
Okay. I will find table. I'll be right back. And
Okay.
this young man nods at you, wanders off for a bit, comes back, and he says, I have a booth for you for your 5/4 peoples.
It's confusing, I understand. Okay.
And he escorts you over to a booth, and it's fairly big. He does,
That's
however,
good.
look at Zakara and looks at the bench and says, I think it fit you, sir. You're
If
good.
not, a chair would be nice. I could just sit on a chair at the end of the table, at the end of the booth.
You'll be fine. I'm pushing Zakara into the
Okay, I just squish into the booth.
booth. I'm pushing, but obviously you're not even moving.
I go.
You slide in. It's a little tight. You know, it's not like impossible, but it is not straight up easy either.
Is this place busy?
Fairly busy, yes.
Oh, all right.
And as you all sit down, he says, is there anything that you would like me to get you? Drinks, food? What would you like?
Food and ale for me, I suppose.
What would you recommend? What is your specialty?
We have a particularly fine venison. There are other delicacies of various types. Would you like lamb? Would you
Bacon.
like bacon? Okay.
This place is called Boar's Head. Do you not have boar?
Yes, of course we do, sir. He's
Zakara
trying
just
to avoid
smiles.
mentioning any cow type ingredients while in your presence.
I don't even notice.
He also says, we do have vegetarian options should that be something that anyone needs. Other than that, sure, I can get ale and bacon. And
You know, Ophelia, I never even asked. Are you do you only eat vegetables and fruit?
Preferably, yes.
Okay. What about the rest of you? Akiko and Islud? Do you have preferences on what you consume?
Probably not cat.
I
mean, I'm... Oh,
no, go ahead.
I'm not too picky when it comes to food.
And then, to be frank, I don't really remember what I like and don't like, so I will just try anything.
As long as it's not cat meat, we'll be fine.
So, waiter, just bring us some ale, some water, and an assortment of meats, fruits, and vegetables, and breads.
Oh, I love bread.
I got it. Okay. I do that right now. No problem. It is not often we have your magnificence in our restaurant, so for sure we will make sure you are very good and taken care of.
What did he just say? Your what?
Magnificence.
Where's that come from? Why does he think that we're magnificent?
He walked away.
I know, I'm asking Zakara.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Go ask him.
I mean, I'm going out on a limb here, but do you think the horns, they think maybe they worship your kind?
Well, it is believed that the Minotaurs were, I guess, God touched. I'm not sure how to really put that. So,
Are you God touched?
I mean, I believe he is. Didn't he say he was the whole goddess thing?
Touched by the gods.
well, that was more recently. But I don't know. I'd like to think that the gods are looking out after me, I suppose.
Okay. Is he going to bring us our drinks first?
He comes back with the drinks. He
Oi!
hands the first
You!
one to Zakara.
Which one
I'll
of us
take
is
it.
the majestic one?
I mean, do you know how many times we have Minotaurs here?
Oh, it's you, Zakara.
Never. It is glorious. Maluni herself would bow in your presence, I am told.
You don't know it yourself, you just told.
I mean, unlike yourself, I am not one with the gods. I cannot speak for what they say, but that is what I have heard.
I'm not one with the gods.
But do you not have her image on your very robe?
Let's go back to talking about Zakara. What is it
He
that you
hands
like
out
so
the
much
rest of
about
the
mine?
alcohol. What's that?
I said, what is it you like so much about Minotaurs?
I mean, anything that speaks with gods must know secrets that are...
we know all the
Unknown.
secrets. We know how you're gonna die, when.
Oh, I went to the oracles once. They told me things I was very uncomfortable about, so I don't prefer to know those kind of things. You see them kind of doing some sort of hand motion that you gather is some sort of like religious ward off. I get your food.
So how about those? Yeah, how about that food?
I do right now. he turns and runs off to find your food as quick as he can to avoid having to talk any more about this issue.
That's not John projecting at all.
No, it's just my waiter's socially awkward. What do you want?
Well, Zakara will sip on his ale.
Don't make me make you do stuff, John, because I will.
Mm, bring it on, buddy. He comes back with a bit. He brings in various dishes. And he's pretty adept at handling them out. You kind of notice he's got like 3 or 4 different plates all ready to go. And he says, would there be anything else that I can get for you?
For now, I believe that might be all, unless if anyone else wants anything.
Not food-wise, but do you know why the city seems so focused on us walking through it?
Focused on yourselves, you mean? Or focused on something else?
Both. Why it just feels very weird here.
They seem both distracted and also like they're looking at all of us. Am I here for this conversation?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
sitting at
I'm
the
listening.
table.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand. What I meant
Yeah.
is that am I mentally listening to it?
I mean, that's
Like,
up
can
to
I
you.
hear it? Well, can I hear
Um,
it? If I can, then yes, I said that.
He looks at you both and kind of leans in. He says, well, I mean, it's very unusual to have people of your disposition, shall I say, come into our
That
city.
sounds racist.
We do get elves, of course, but it's not common to have, I mean, his gloriousness, of course, and my lady cat person. We do not have tabaxi here either, too much, but we do have things that are going on that we're not fully informed on. The government is hiking prices across the city, probably across the kingdom for all I know. There's been talk of war coming, people being dragged out of pubs to fight in the army.
War coming or war being given?
I mean, I don't know. I am not political myself. The
Evidently.
the princeps, long may he reign, takes care of that kind of stuff. We don't be involved.
And you just blindly trust him?
I mean, when someone can, have life and death over you, you blindly trust them, because otherwise they blindly kill you,
So the government taking this money, is that why the surrounding buildings seem to be in disrepair?
I mean, somewhat the reason. Of course, the weather is not ideal all the time for this, so it's a bit of both, a bit of column A, a bit of column B. Taxes are hard, for sure, but it's not the only reason.
And who would know more information on this? You said maybe
I
the
mean,
local.
It's, certainly the local scrollery, library, whatever you want to call it, down near the temple might know. The temple itself, some of them. The politicians, of course, would know, but you don't want to talk to them.
Maybe we do.
I mean, that's perfectly up to you, sir. Ma'am. Whomever.
Excuse me.
Are you
And
having a stroke?
he's feeling nervous. He doesn't like this politics talk. It's like, would you care for dessert or anything else I can get you, maybe?
Perhaps after our meal.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't really had chance to eat it. We've been kind of talking to you the whole time.
I mean, fair. I just, preparation. Let's call it. Just when you're happy enough to let me know, I will come over.
We'll let you know if we're still hungry after, thank you.
He shuts up immediately after that and turns on his feet and runs away, basically.
We're gonna have to tip him for all of the information he gave us because if not, I think he might melt.
Might be fun to watch that though.
I just like look over like, are you good? I'm starting to wonder if there's a reason why you're dead.
I'm fine.
Okay, well I'm gonna eat my nice food. Only the vegetables and the fruit.
Okay.
I'll sip some of the ale.
I'm gonna grab a grape and flick it at Zakara's face.
I will try to catch it. I'm probably
Man.
not fast enough. Probably just hits me in the face.
Okay, so you throw a grape. He doesn't catch it. You eat your food.
Is this a food fight? Are we starting a food fight?
Well, what you do next is up to you. I throw an
mean-
apple at his head.
Oh dear.
I will catch that one.
I will say, as they're doing that, because I'm assuming we're still wet from the outside, or
Mhm,
soggy,
yeah.
right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I just start shaking right next
Oh,
to
no.
Ophelia.
After doing that, I see him do that, and I start to cast prestidigitation on myself, and I remove all of the wet from me, and then I turn anybody else.
Wait.
I will
Are we doing
cast
it
it.
as well?
I do it to both of them, and it's as if everything is just dry. I could have helped you too. You didn't need to shake it all off, I guess.
Now he's fluffy though.
Hmm.
Damn,
So,
Fluffy.
What's
Do
your
you
favorite
guys-
smell, Zakara?
He just kind of shyly looks down at the table, and he says, lilacs.
I see. You see the hand move again, and all you can smell is lilacs from your fur.
He'll just smile, and then he just continues eating.
Hmm. So do you guys want to stay here tonight and get a room, or do you want to go back to the ship?
If I'm being honest, the ship was boring.
Yeah, I agree. But it's not going to be much fun for you. You don't get to sleep.
True, but this at least is a new place.
We could maybe... You could lie and stare at the ceiling and count the lines in this place.
Exactly, where the holes are. Maybe
Do we need
listen-
to ask the waiter, or is there a different person that handles like the in part of it?
I mean, they have like a reception area.
I'll
If
go
you-
up there on my own then.
Okay. As you wander up, you see a dwarf with pigtails. She has a small little bell hat on her head, and she looks up to you and says, "Hello, may I help you?"
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Do you have rooms available?
Yeah, of course.
How many days do we have to stay here again?
2.
Should I
You
just
were
get one
told.
night and we stay on the ship the next night? I'll just get one. How many rooms do you have available?
Currently we have about 4 or 5. We don't have a lot of visitors at the moment, just because of current government ideas.
What's the biggest room you have?
We do have a master suite.
Okay.
It used to be called the Emperor's Suite up until he was removed. So yeah, that's
How many
that-
beds are in there?
Well, it's kind of like a one big master bedroom, and then there's like a bunch of like other rooms, but they're not really bedrooms. There's like a gathering room and a place to eat and all sorts of different,
Like with couches? Like places that people could sit?
yeah, and
Like
of
chairs.
course, and it has like a bath and that kind of thing.
I'll have that. They can sleep on the floor.
All right, that'll be 3 gold, please.
Okay.
Um,
I just pass it over.
Okay. anything else? Would you like room service? Any sort of like alarm set for you for the morning?
No,
Yep.
that's fine. Thank you.
All right. If there's anything we can do, please let us know.
Okay. I can have the key. That would be helpful.
She hands you over the key. It looks like an old-fashioned, like, one with, like, the little hang-down thing on the front and the little circle on the back, kind of like the old-timey stuff that some houses still use today. And she says, it's on the top floor. It's the
Thank
only
you.
room on the top floor, so you have no need to look for any others.
Oh, thanks very much.
She
I'll walk back
nods.
over then, I guess, to the people, and I'll be like, I got us a room. It's a big one. It's enough room for all of us.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Someone will have to sleep on the floor, but that's fine.
I'm fine doing that.
I think there's chairs. I think she said there's spaces, the places for everybody to sleep. But we're in a weird place. There's weird things going on. Lots of strange acting people. And the waiter just looked like he was going to literally poop himself while telling us about it. So I think, we'll just stay in the same room.
Makes sense to me.
I'll just
Okay.
throw the key at Zakara's head. Because I'm on a roll with throwing things at his head.
It bonks off a horn and lands in your lap. Meanwhile, the waiter comes over. He says, do you need anything else?
Can we take our dessert into our room?
Certainly.
Okay. What does everybody want? What's the options?
We have a thick honey cake. There is some things that are like little chocolates. They're like a creme pastry. Those
Does
kind of
everybody
things.
like honey cake? Zakara, honey cake?
Sure.
Nakika?
I'll have some.
Islud?
Can't remember, so sure.
Let's have a big honey cake to the room, top of the floor. We're in the master suite, please.
Oh, okay. I will get it done for you very quickly.
Thank you. I'll just tip him a gold because I'm nice.
Oh, thank you very much. And off he goes, happy as can be.
Okay, and I guess we'll go upstairs. If that's fine with everybody else.
Sure.
What time of day is it?
It's like, probably now it's probably about 3 in the afternoon.
We're going to eat our cake at 3 in the afternoon. Unless you wanted to go somewhere else first.
I don't have anywhere that I need to go. So wherever you go,
We could always go up to the room, eat the cake, put anything in the room that we want to leave there, and then we could all go for a walk through the city and see what's around, and then come back and sleep. If you guys want.
that sounds like a plan to me.
Okay.
I did say that I would get Islud a book.
Ah, wow, perfect for the walk in the city then. Just all 4 chums just walking up the stairs.
Okay, as you guys do that, Caden, you feel the prodding of the message stone, unbidden, and there is a message that says, if you have any further questions, visit the library. You can reply to this message.
I think Caden fell asleep.
No, Caden's sitting there. He's just not saying anything. Hello, Rob? Oh, he's muted.
I love how we just all watched and waited for him to reply, and it was just complete dead silence.
Nope,
Sorry,
still
apparently
muted.
my headphones
you
got turned down. I didn't hear it. What did you say?
Oh, okay. I said that your message stone goes off, and
Okay.
the message is sent. If you have further concerns, questions, visit the library, and then it said you can reply to this message.
Okay. I will say library's location. Also, should we be worried about forced in shoot, what's it called?
Tepe.
Inscription into the army or whatever? Because you said
Oh,
they were looking for
conscription.
people.
Yeah, conscription.
Yeah.
Conscription. Okay.
Yeah. The reply you get back is, the library is near the temple, at the center of the city. Make note of anything you see and hear and send it through the transmission device.
Okay. I'll make my way towards the library then. I'm going to try to do it stealthily. Listening in conversations as I go.
Okay. Oh.
18.
Still didn't adjust even with that. Huh. Sorry, hang on. I'm just trying to figure out why this is not showing the latest update. That's odd.
Pretty sure it was you that turned on my headphones, yeah. Your big old paws. Scratching.
I don't know why the dice rolls are not showing. They should be, so that's very peculiar. I'm going to just double check that for a second. Sorry, give me half a moment to just check and see why this isn't working. Oh, it went back to that one. It's on the wrong one, that's why. Okay. All right, should be on that one now. Okay, so as you make your way through the city, you hear a lot of what the others have heard, some of which you wouldn't have heard before this, about preparations for something, the government seemingly being determined to make everyone's lives miserable. Some people are like, no, we need to stand up to those wizards in their towers. Their ungodly reputation is preceding them, and you hear a bit more of this kind of commentary about the fact that the wizards are basically atheists, is I guess how we term it, and that they're not trustworthy because of their lack of faith in the gods.
Evil wizards and towers, you say? Let me ask you this, John. How explodable are these towers?
Oh my god.
Oh dear.
You know, you blow up one tower and you just never hear the end of it. That's all
I mean, I guess we'll find out maybe. And as you make your way, that's kind of it. A lot of the more patriotic people, that's kind of their commentary. It's more geared towards like, gotta take them down a peg or two. How dare they disrespect our gods with their evil ways. They're hogging all of the access to the gems and things of that nature. That is about as clear as that gets. And you only heard that from a couple of people. And then eventually you come upon a library which looks familiar, similar to the ones you've been at. And out front is a monk of your order.
As I approach, I will head to the monk and I will nod and I will show my
Your Diners Club card.
yeah, basically my proof that I'm a part of the library. Can't think of my title at the moment, but
And he looks at you and nods and says, "May your learning be swift and your understanding be opened. Please come in." And he points off into the library.
I will enter.
So, as you walk in, much like the other ones that you've seen, there are books and scrolls everywhere on the walls. There are people studying them in various locations, and there are people standing near a water fountain that looks very familiar as well. And you see with perception, you notice them actually like sending money through, or money scrolls and notes through, and sometimes picking new ones up.
So I'm going to go to basically the closest one, and is your archivist free?
Why, yes. Let me get Archivist Daniel. And he turns abruptly and walks off. And in about 10-15 minutes, there is an older lady. She's wearing a pair of very thick glasses. Her hair is very wizened looking, kind of sprouting out to the side as well as down. Very long and white, and she has a cane that she's walking with. And she comes over and says, "Ah, how may I help you? You are not from around here, I understand."
He'll give her like a half bow and say, "No, I'm from the library in Lijiang, but I'm actually here on assignment from the library of Kalixar. They wanted any information you had about the hostilities that seem to be inevitable."
Ah, yes, the confrontation with the wizards in Tempe, Kalashar. Have a seat. And she points to one of the tables, and as you sit down, she hobbles over and sets the cane aside. You get the impression that that's mostly for show. She seems to move fine as soon as she puts the cane down. And looking at her, you can tell that she is very much an old warrior. And she says, "The Princeps and his cadre of advisors believe that the wizards are up to something in the mountains. Something definitely of dark intent. They have been hoarding the amethysts, the jewels that are used to funnel magic into weaponry and orbs and things of that nature. They have captured the mine there and are basically charging exorbitant amounts of money if you want to buy any of it. And they're only giving out small dribs and drabs of it. So there is concern that they're hoarding it for some evil purpose that no one knows. Have you ever heard about the Obsidian Oath?
Shake his head.
They're a rumored conspiracy of magical users that believe that the gods are figments of our creation, that mortality created the gods, not the other way around, and that the only reason the gods exist is because of our prayers to them. They argue that that if we took away our worship, they would cease to exist. And thus they see no reason to worship them.
Kano will kind of shrug and he'll say, even if that is the only reason they exist, we worship them and so they exist. I don't see the issue.
I mean, that's generally the thought process in most of our monasteries. Certainly, even if everybody suddenly stopped, it wouldn't be like they would cease to exist immediately. I mean, and then there's the philosophical argument about at what point do you cease to worship something. I don't really know. So even if they didn't, you're correct. I fundamentally don't understand their argument. But this order, if it exists, they're looking to use magic to try and create something to cross into some other realm. We're not entirely sure what they're up to, but it could be true that this hoarding that's going on is basically because they are trying to use as much of the material as possible in order to put themselves in a position to create something of dangerous nature.
And it is the people of Tepe Kalse that are doing this?
That's the rumor. Their council of wizards that took over the place 50 years ago have been recalcitrant, shall we say, in a lot of ways. They are very enclosed. They only allow certain people in. They have been very much hiding in their mountain fortress and not wanting others to know what they're doing. But it's only rumor.
But
We
it's
certainly
rumor
have
enough.
not sent anyone up there to have a look around and found that they were returned to us in bits. That is only a rumor.
But this is enough of a rumor for Malikboten to believe they need to step in?
Well, the Princeps has been led by others to believe that these wizards are planning some sort of takeover. The Princeps is uneasy because, of course, he himself only ascended to the throne after a takeover of his own. So thus, uneasy lies the crown, shall we say.
I see.
It's not like we haven't had strange, crazed wizards wandering around causing trouble. I mean, half the reason why we have problems with the elves now is because of those jerks.
Does what is he called, the prince? What's
Princeps.
the Princeps? Does he at least try to send delegations or any kind of diplomatic envoys to Tepe?
The last delegation that was sent returned believing that all was well.
Not torn to pieces.
No. They came back stating that the wizards are very prepared to continue to supply the magical material that everyone needs in order to continue to live our very cushy lifestyles. They were insistent, shall we say.
I mean, their minds were altered.
That would be my guess. Let's just put it this way. If you're weak to suggestion, you make it out alive.
See. So, both sides have their problem rulers, and war is probably inevitable.
That is our fear.
What are these gems everyone keeps mentioning?
The Amontius, which is spelled, for those of you wondering, Amonitius, is a gem of multicolor. When it is not activated, it appears like a range of red, yellow, blue, and gold coloring. When activated through the use of magic, it acts as a conduit to store and release magic on scales depending on the size of the gem. The gems that are used in, say, a flying ship are just a small portion of what's rumored to be at the center of this mountain. The suggestion has always been that these mountains are effectively the lodestone for all of this conduit. That it was touched by the gods at some point to be a center point of magic throughout our known existence. Which is one of the reasons why the elves had been protecting it so virulently until the dwarves arrived about 300 years ago. And about 50 to 100 years ago, we're not exactly sure when, wizards arrived trying to exploit it to their benefit. And it was about then that rumors started to fly that people were disappearing, that the dwarves had suddenly taken no interest in mining their mines and had wandered off.
Well, I would offer my assistance, but I've been tasked to escort this resurrected one to Veilguard.
But it's not his job.
She
This
nods.
very much would be part of his job.
Yeah, it would be. She nods at you and says, understand. We each have our own missions in this world. If you do decide to look into it, please let us know so that we can keep in touch.
How long would a trip to Tepe take from here?
It's about a day and a half from here, and she says, as you were coming in, you saw a mountain range. It's on the other side of that mountain range. That's by horse or by cart. If you're buying airship, it's probably half a day. If you're walking, of course, it might be 3 or 4 days to a week.
Well, our airship is held up for 2 days at least. Perhaps I can at least get a horse and take a quick look before we leave.
If you need anything, I can certainly find provisions for you. If you have any colleagues that are going with you, let me know. We can certainly provide for them as well.
He kind of grimaces, like, after the talk we had yesterday, I think I'll probably be going on my own, but you never know.
She nods and says, whatever is your need, please know that we are open to you. If you need a place to stay, you can stay here tax-free.
Thank you.
the government does not have the right within this building to charge people, particularly our adherents, no matter how hard they try.
Well, that is good, at least. If you don't mind, I need to make a report for Kalixar, and I will be sending a copy to Lijiang as well.
She nods at that, and as long as you leave one for us as well, so that we may have notes that you might be willing to pass on, we would certainly appreciate it. And with that, she stands up. Looks kind of like Yoda when he gets like the lightsaber, where she's like stands up completely straight and tall and totally majestic, and then she grabs the cane and immediately starts looking old again and says, "May your knowledge be ever in your favor."
May the lady light your way.
And you as well.
He's going to take a little time to write out 3 copies of his report, basically telling them everything that he learned here and in the city, and that he might be going to Tepe to take a look at what's going on. He's going to leave the copy for them, send one in common to Kalixar, but the one he's sending to Lijiang, he's going to write in Kori and address it to his father, so he's the only one that can read it.
Okay.
Well, his family could all read it, but...
Right. And, okay.
Because he remembers what they said about people intercepting messages sometimes, so he wants to make it unreadable by anyone else.
Fair enough. And, yeah. Okay. With that, the rest of you are about to leave your rooms, assuming? To go wander...
We didn't even bloody get into them yet.
I mean, you were walking up the stairs last I heard.
Yeah.
So, to describe this room, in quotes, basically it's the entire top floor of the hotel, or the inn. So, it'd probably be the equivalent of like 4 or 5 bedrooms, but like there's a living room area with couches and a fireplace, and there is a shower / bath type area. The shower is like a waterfall that is magically transporting water from some unknown source and then pouring it out in a steady rate constantly in a warm shower of water. The bath is like off of that, and it's just kind of this massive bath area, probably as big as like a room would be normally. And then the actual bedroom is probably a double side of a normal master bedroom, with a huge king-size bed in the middle with like a canopy over top, and it's all very fancy, and everything is very like, this part is actually sort of the 5-star aspect of this building, and it's all very well appointed, I guess would be the word I'd use.
So it's really pretty.
Yep.
Okay, when we go inside, I'm gonna go sit. I'm gonna like drag a chair up, separate from the others, and sit at the window and just be like staring out the window and playing with the locket around my neck and like stare. Like I'm just distant, staring into space.
Okay. What's everybody else
Everyone
doing?
else died.
Zakara is going to go through and search each room to make sure no one else is up here.
Okay. In your search, you do notice that there is like a dumbwaiter in one of the rooms, and that it looks like it's a way that they shift food and things upstairs. And there is a magical device to request for deliveries from downstairs.
Can the dumbwaiter be seen at a point where I could see both the dumbwaiter and the door.
I mean,
To
it's
the-
off in one of the side, like the area where like the kitchen is. So it's not like close to the front of the room, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
Like-
Well, Zakara would just sit there and pace back and forth from the area where I can see the door to the kitchen area where I can keep an eye on the dumbwaiter.
Fair enough. Okay.
So that's all he's doing.
Okay.
Is the fire already going in the fireplace?
No.
I will. The fire going. Finding some kindling, I'm assuming, and buy it.
Yes. Yeah. Fresh kindling. You've noticed that there's like very little ash in the fireplace, like it's been cleaned recently.
Okay.
Either that or there hasn't been anybody in here for a while.
Noted. I place the kindling in there, and with a flick of the wrist, a firebolt lands on it to ignite it in flame.
Up it goes. Cool. And within a couple minutes, it's cooking away. And I'm assuming you place logs on it to keep it going, so it keeps going.
Yeah. And then I just sit down. I'm assuming there's like furniture nearby, like a chair. I'll just sit in the chair.
Yeah, there's like a series of like couches, various sized couches. Like some of them are bigger than others, full size. Some of them are smaller, half couches. Some of them are like just almost like an easy chair kind of thing. So yeah, there's all sorts of options.
Okay. Yep. Just relaxing.
Okay. All right.
Looking around, waiting for other movements from other people. Seeing Zakara just pace back and forth. We'll just watch him.
Fair. And Kiko, what are you doing?
Just kind of just looking around the room.
Cool.
I'm just gonna be sat at the window still,
Okay.
playing with my locket and staring out.
So as you're doing that, about half an hour later, the message stone that sits near the dumbwaiter goes bing, and the device says, "If you are wanting anything from the downstairs, please leave a note in the dumbwaiter and then send it down. We will then ensure your deliveries."
Where's my cake?
I mean, you took it with you, you said.
I thought the waiter said I'll have it ready. So I assumed he
Oh,
was
that's
bringing
right.
it.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. So you say that, and then about 5 minutes later, this cake comes up the dumbwaiter, and the door opens, and a magical Bigby's hand basically lifts the cake up and places it on a counter, and then dissipates.
I was gonna say Zakara has his sword drawn the entire time, just staring at it do this.
Fair enough. So you have one honey cake.
He's gonna go over and close the dumbwaiter. Can it be locked from this side?
Yep.
Good, I lock it.
Okay.
There's honey cake in the kitchen apparently. A hand brought it.
I take a piece of the cake and then I go back and sit at the window again, continuing to do what I was doing before, which is just staring out into space and like like when someone like runs like a lock, like their necklace, like a lock around the neck, like through their fingers. Kind of like I'm grasping it but playing with it at the same time.
How far
And
away,
I'll also eat the cake.
John, how far away is the window that Ophelia is sitting at and where Isolute is at the fire? Is there a substantial distance to where it's hard to see?
No, I mean, if you turned around, so imagine the fireplace is kind of in one room, but it's a very open area sort of thing where there's not walls between the various rooms. Like it's almost like an open floor plan apartment building sort of idea, and you can look over into what would be sort of the dining area where she's sitting, staring out there.
So, would I know from this distance? Would I notice the hand movement on the locket, or do you need me to roll something for such a feat?
You can roll perception. I can't think it would be very difficult though. Oof, unless you roll a 1, then it's very difficult.
So you don't know me and my wizards. We don't see. Yes.
You get an impression though that she is repeatedly doing something. You may not be sure what it is, but you definitely notice that she's kind of wistfully looking out.
Ophelia, I apparently can't see what you're doing because there's something in my eye. But, are you okay? It seems like your hands are moving a lot.
She doesn't hear you because she's so distantly staring out.
I feel you being quiet. That's very weird. Speed her up. Find out what's going on.
You speak so softly, so it just sort of like filters through her head.
He'll just like pay attention more now, I guess, not wanting to speak, not wanting to interrupt. Whatever
Over
thought
time,
he
you
could do.
you kind of see the locket that she's playing with. I mean, now that you're sort of concentrating on it, you would notice more what she's doing. To be fair, so would Zakara. The more back and forth he does.
If you look at the picture that I sent of the sketch drawing, that's what it looks like. It has writing on it, and it's like got like a currently undrawn gem in the center, and then it opens. Obviously, it's a locket, so it opens.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, obviously I can't look at it at the moment, but I have seen it previously.
For those listening on the podcast, it's a locket with writing on it that is written in Elvish, even.
He will stand up, being curious now, and walk over closer. Is everything okay?
She'll just look to the side and then like snap out of like her trance and be like, oh, and just drop her locket like inside of her shirt so that you can't see it. And be like, oh yeah, sorry. What, are we leaving? Is it time to go?
I mean, I believe we could. You were just very focused. Your hands were moving around, cradling something.
I was just lost in thought.
I understand. I do that a lot too. I would assume we would get going when everyone is prepared, but you just seemed off. I wanted to make sure you were okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Would I have seen any of the writing before she dropped it into the shirt, John?
Okay, for that one we'll have to do another perception check, I think.
Secondary question, do you speak Elvish?
I speak Sylvan, which is the Old Elvish.
So maybe. 14. You see what it says. The writing.
It's a name.
Yeah.
So, because of that, would it be fair that I know that it's a name, but I can't read the name, but that's that number, maybe?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I'll let it go for now and be like, of course. And he'll move back to where he was by the fireplace.
She just sort of like is like, okay. But like in a like she's clearly not paying attention properly.
Zakara's over with Akiko now, handing her one of the pieces of the, what was it, the honey
cake
that we got. And he's just gonna be like, you know what I hate the most?
What?
Trying to clean dried blood out of my fur.
Yeah, I understand. It's terrible.
He holds up a fist.
pat him on the shoulder.
Well, okay. You know you're supposed to punch my fist, right?
She kind of tilts her head, confused.
Right, so if I hold up my fist like this, and then you just, not hard, but you just, I guess, bump into it with your fist. I saw some people do it one time.
And do it, like, really slowly and off-center.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, that's how they did it. Just, I mean, a little faster, but yeah, it was some semblance of acknowledgement or agreement, and then they did that. So I figured I'd try it.
All right. Well, now I know. So I've noticed you've been talking to Ophelia a lot.
Yeah, back when we were all kind of requested to travel together, a temple guard told her that she would not need protection, but I think she thought she did, so I offered, and I'm going to continue to offer until she feels that she doesn't need it anymore.
That's very sweet of you.
Thank you. It's what I do best when I'm not just fighting, I guess.
Hmm.
So.
We should probably go check with the others and see if Izlud wants some cake too.
Oh yeah, I'll break off a big chunk of honey cake and bring it out to Izlud as well.
Oh wow, that's a huge piece of cake.
Whatever you don't finish, I'll eat. It's fine.
Okay. I feel like this is never something I've had before in this much quantity. Maybe a very more small piece. He'll try it. It is good though.
Zakara will nod. Ophelia, are you almost ready to go and do a walk about town?
She'll like come out of her like little like moment that she's having and be like, yeah. Why are you guys ready?
Unless there's something that we'd like to discuss, then I see no sense in burning the daylight we have.
Okay. Yeah, we can go.
Out of character question, is this trance or getting into her own head something that Ophelia would have done in the room at night before like going to bed or any time when her and Zakara were alone?
Probably.
Okay, yeah. Then he thinks nothing of it. Like he's just
she will have anytime she has like downtime on her own to think, she'll be doing it.
Okay.
You'll probably get the vibe that she just zones out a lot. But she won't have like, because you were so close to her, she won't have got her locket out. This was the first time she did that. So prior to this, you probably just thought, you didn't see the locket though, obviously, as Lou did. Prior to this, right. You would probably just assume that she was like zoned out. But at some point, if you see her with the locket, you'll realize that it's probably more than just zoning out.
Right.
If we're leaving, you don't want to burn an inn, and he'll point a finger at the fire and ray of frost it down to nothing.
Okay.
Might I suggest we go towards the library for no apparent reason?
I mean, it is the home of many books, is it not?
That is true.
It is certainly an option. And many more else on the way, maybe.
Okay. There's also the temple near there too, by the way. But you were talking about getting him a book, so I guess the library would be a good place to go to. So, you guys leave the inn. I assume you were asking around at some point as to where places to buy books are, Zakar.
Yeah, I would have just, stopped a young lady or another gentleman or whatever. I try to be very polite and not off-putting when I interrupt people for their time.
Fair enough. Okay, so you get pointed out fairly quickly, and in every case, everybody seems very willing to help you. So yeah, they point that the center of town there's a temple which has that massive ziggurat, and then beside it is this large library which is dedicated to a bunch of monks that nobody really understands fully what they do.
Okay.
So you guys make your way towards the center of town. You come upon this monastery. It is a large building. It looks like kind of a Greek temple style building. Massive columns and large entrance at the front. In front of it is a few monks that are kind of standing around. One in particular seems to be sort of like I don't want to say a guard, more like he's just there to sort of greet you, kind of like as if you come into a museum and you have like the agent that's kind of directing people around and such, and the information desk. And as he sees your group coming, specifically he walks up to Ophelia and says, "Mistress, how may we help you?"
We're here to buy a book, right?
That is my purpose, if possible.
Then why am I here?
Well, we're just
I came with
traveling
him.
together. Yeah.
I'll just
Oh.
politely say, I'm accompanying my friend who is searching for a book to purchase.
Well, obviously we have a large library. If there is a scroll or book you would like us to reproduce for personal use, certainly we can do that.
How long does that take?
A book takes quite a long time unless we have multiple copies. A scroll might take a day.
Can you show us where your books are that have multiple copies?
I was going to say, better yet, I'm going to leave this somewhat broad. Islud, unless you have a preference, I figured you're unsure of things that you used to like, so I was going to give a recommendation and purchase you a book.
I would accept that.
I will ask the guy if he has any books that have copies that I could purchase, now on things like old legends, like historic legends and folklore, and really important like songs, like just historical things.
Songs and folklore. Okay. Excuse me, sir. Do you stock Folklore by Taylor Swift?
Oh boy.
I know not this bard that you speak of, but certainly we have poetry and some collections of songs from the ages past. It is not by any means detailed, but we do have some of the old stories collected. Certainly, some of the older authors have definitely kept evidence of their writings. Some of it's how. Let me ask this: do you want it in common? Do you need it in an older fashion?
Common would be preferable.
Okay, so only a couple of 100 years ago max. All right. And he says, well,
Well,
come with me.
actually, if it makes your job any easier, sir, I can read Sylvan too.
Or
Oh.
Sylvan.
Oh, okay. Yes, we do have some of the writings of a few of the elves that were left with us many years ago. We have a couple of scrolls by them as well. Here, come with me. And he escorts you back to an area where these older documents are stored, and you can see some books that are like, it's not quite the bargain bin, but it's kind of that idea where they're like, they've got multiple copies because nobody wants them, kind of thing. But he says, here's some works of history from ages back, written by a historian by the name of Scribus. There is the writings and poetry of Honorus, and there is the elven lord Leonis, who wrote the ancient histories of humanity's arrival on this continent, and some of which is semi-mythological, we believe. Does any of that catch your fancy? Or would you like something different? Is there some other interest you might have or need or want?
I think anything would be good. I have very much a problem sleeping.
I see.
Do you have anything, John? I'm going to probably butcher this name, but I'm looking back in our notes together. Do you have anything involving Lug?
Oh, yes.
Did I pronounce that right, John?
Pretty close. The
Okay.
great warrior. Yes. We do have a couple of books on him. They are older tomes, so they're written in an older version of Common, but they're definitely understandable by us in our age.
All right. How much for that, and how much for the other one that you were just referring to?
Well, probably. Well, let me be frank with you, sir. Some of these books are, I mean, we'd almost give them away. So if you gave me a couple of silver, that'd probably cover both.
I will give you 5 gold pieces.
Sir, that's slightly
extremely good.
unreasonable.
On the contrary, you are record keepers of history, and you are sharing historical events with people intrigued and wanting to hear more of them. That is important. What you do is important, and you shouldn't undersell yourself.
I thank you, sir. We very much appreciate it. Your donation will be looked on with great pleasure, especially from one such as yourself.
He smiles.
And
By chance, before we leave this section, I don't remember her name. A goddess with a necklace of tricolor gems.
oh, her. You need some information. Are you
Anything
wanting...
about her would be interesting enough. Is there a book dedicated to her, or at least I don't know enough about her to know.
Yeah, that's Merilith. Sure, one moment. And he grabs a couple of scrolls, one on Bidwin and one on Merilith, and he says, "These are the sisters. They are... One is the goddess of death, and the other one is the goddess of life. They are probably who you are speaking of. Although the item you're mentioning, I seem to remember being a part of the... One moment. Okay. He gives you those 2 scrolls and says, look, the other thing is this could be something to do with Lahuni due to her children, because there's rumors that her children are kept around her throat. That might represent the gems you speak of. She is the patron goddess of our community, so we happen to have quite a bit on her. And he grabs a book off the shelf and he says, this is an overview of the belief system that surrounds her and some of the information on her children, which, and he's kind of points up, are represented in our sky at night by the 3 moons that circle our planet.
I see. Would there be a reason if with these 2, I don't know which is which, but Bedouin or Merilith have that necklace?
Merilith is the goddess of death. She is notoriously possessive. If something is represented as being those 3 gems, then her involvement means they must have been needed in order to do whatever it is she was doing in your dream, per se.
Oh. You could say it's a dream, though it feels
Okay.
much more like a reality.
I see. Yeah, I mean, we're not completely familiar with everything the gods have done. They are, by their very nature, mercurial. But I will say that this would certainly lead you the right direction. If there's anything else you need, maybe speaking to the temple might be of use to you as well.
Perhaps. Are all of these mine to take and keep? And is there a cost?
Yes, you may have these. There is no cost at this time.
He will also give 5 gold.
He takes it. He's like, thank you. We appreciate your attendance at the library today. If there's anything else we can do, please let us know.
No, you've given me more back to things I don't know than you actually know. And with that, he'll grab the scrolls and the books and go.
Okay.
With that final word, like not even giving him enough thought to think on it.
Okay. So, as you turn and go, you will notice Caden sitting near a pool of water. And in his hand, a scroll seeming to just evaporate. And then he
Just near
stands up.
everybody.
I would assume everybody's leaving at the same time, so then yes, if that's the
Yep.
case, then yes, you would have noticed.
Oh, hi, Caden.
Yeah, I'll holler over to Caden to get his attention.
Good. I was about to come look for you.
Why?
He'll actually turn to Islude and say, I need to make a side trip to Tepe Kawase. We'll take an extra day besides what we were planning to be here for.
I just
know.
turn to Sakara while you're talking. I'm like, I see we weren't good enough to be talked to.
He'll half turn as you say this to include you in the conversation and say, I would talk to you about it as well. However, it is mostly Islud who can delay our journey as we are going to Veilguard for him. If you were to leave without him, then you have no reason to go there.
I mean, that's not necessarily true. I've never been, and I'd like to see it. So that would be a reason to go.
Went badly for you.
He angrily turns back to Islud and he says, one is the number of people that I am, and I can only affect so much change in the world. Like, he says it kind of to himself, and then he looks back up at you, Islud, and says, if you can spare to wait for me for one more day, I would appreciate it. If not, however, you are free to leave without me.
You need to go on your own?
I don't have to go on my own.
Well, it's probably safer to travel at least in numbers, and
Are you asking for our help or not?
I am not.
Oh.
However, if you would like to come, you are
No,
welcome.
you're fine, thank you.
now, Ophelia, I do think that we should assist him with this, and
He doesn't need it.
it
He's made
doesn't
that
mean
very
that
clear.
it's
He's quite capable on his own.
just because you don't need it, Caden, doesn't mean that you don't appreciate the offer. Correct?
Correct?
Does
That's-
he?
That's worth doing it to begin with.
Fine.
Plus, I can only think of the easiest way of the ship not leaving is that we don't board, and we maybe.
We should tell the ship that we're going to be a 2 days. I mean, it's going to be roughly 2 days for the ship anyway, but at least they'll know not to leave regardless, and that we are coming back.
Didn't the captain already say that he wouldn't leave without us anyway?
I'm not
Yes.
sure.
I
But I
do
think-
recall him saying that.
I do think making a quick pit stop would not hurt, and maybe a little incentive for them to stay might not.
How
hurt.
long? How long will we be gone?
If we travel swiftly by horse, it'll take a day and a half to get there, a day and a half back. Depends on how long we end up having to stay there. If we take the ship when it's ready, it will be only 1 day of travel. However, I might need to report back here to Malikboten afterwards, so I don't know which is more practical.
What is the purpose for this?
Try and prevent the war that's brewing.
Why would
That's
you
okay.
have the power to do that?
I don't have the power to do it myself. I have the power to get information as to why it's happening and inform those that do have the power to fix it.
Okay, fine.
It could also be somewhat dangerous. I've been informed that diplomats have either never returned or those that have had their minds altered.
Do you think we're not powerful enough?
No, I just wish to warn you of the danger. And
Well.
if you choose not to come with me, I would understand.
Are you going, Sakara?
I think we should, but I will stay with you regardless.
We can go. Probably good to keep an eye on him anyway and make sure he's not lying.
Zakara's just going to lean down and whisper to Ophelia, and he's just going to say, "Team building exercises."
Both parties have to be willing for that.
I mean, I suppose that's true.
Akiko, you're the only one who has not spoken. Are you alright with this side adventure?
I mean, it's not like I can go anywhere without y'all. Especially if you're going along, I'm told to stay with you.
Looks like we're all going.
I'm sorry to be the chain that keeps you all here. but
Hmm.
All right.
Caden will
Sorry.
just like shake his head at you and say, "No, you are my primary assignment. This is a side mission that I was asked to do. So you, whatever you decide is what is most important to my work at the moment."
in your opinion, from what you know, will what we do help these people?
It depends on what the wizards of. Hold on one second. Tepe Calisay are doing, and if they can be reasoned with, and also whether the ruler here can be reasoned with when we come back. War may be impossible to avoid, but we may be able to blunt it a bit.
If we can avoid needless death of people who are innocent, whether it be by coin, by life, I would choose that.
I guess that's settled then.
Hayden, I do have a question. I do not mean for it to come off sounding rude. It's merely my own curiosity. You said that you stayed at a temple, or a monastery. So you are spiritual, would you say?
Not yes, my order serves Leone, the Golden
Now,
Dragon.
and is it common? And John, you can correct me if it would be. But is it common for monasteries and temples to be involved with politics and military?
Not temples, not regular monasteries. My monastery is tied with the library, the Great Library, who, above all else, value knowledge and wisdom, and war is the antithesis to both of those things.
I understand wanting to be opposed to a war, obviously. I mean, war is not good for anyone, but I do know that the, warring nations, that boils down to who runs the nations, and that boils down to politics and military, and I just didn't know if your temple worked for or with the military on a common basis.
I mean, Caden would tell you what he thinks, and he'll say, the library has its own agenda. They are in most cities.
Yeah, I mean, just from a out of character standpoint, the monasteries, as Caden would be aware, are working on their own agenda, and thus aren't tied to the rest of the world that way. I mean, to bring up a critical role example that you'd understand, they're kind of like the Cobalt Soul.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So that's kind of how they work. So yeah, they interweave with politics and stuff, but they're not directly tied to any government.
Okay. So they're one of they're like it's a situation where they would lend people to a cause if they believed in that cause, or if it
if it prevented
their
something from being worse. They're more geared towards trying to stop evil. So if the perception is that whatever's happening could create evil, they're more likely to get involved than, say, the disagreement about land or somebody hating somebody else over religion. They don't give a crap about that. That's not their primary purpose. Not really, anyway. So anyway.
Well, Zakara will nod at you, Caden. He'll say, "Well, thank you for appeasing my curiosity. Let's see. Now I feel like I know you at least a little bit better.
He'll give you like a side head nod, like I see how that could be valuable.
Do you think I'll get to wrestle a bear on this travel?
I really have no idea.
Oh.
Anything is possible.
Zakara just kind of cracks his knuckles and grins.
And with that, I think that's where we're going to call an end to tonight. If you'd like to subscribe to our channel, please do so here. If you'd like to see what we've done in the past, please check it out up here. And if you'd like to check out all of our content, you can do so at distractionsmedia.com.